Romans 12:3. For by the grace given me, I say to every one of you, do not think of yourself more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourself with sober judgment, in accordance with the faith God has distributed to each of you. Okay, so don't think of yourself more highly than you ought. That kind of brings up the question, how much ought should we have? How highly should we think of ourselves? So that's what we're going to be discussing today. The first clue is right after that. He says, in accordance with your faith. So your faith has something to do with how highly you should think of yourself. Okay. That doesn't make a lot of sense yet. Romans 12:4-8. For just as each of us has one body with many members, and these members do not all have the same function, so in Christ we, though many, form one body, and each member belongs to all the others. We have different gifts according to the grace given to each of us. If your gift is prophesying, then prophesy in accordance with your faith. If it is serving, then serve. If it is teaching, then teach. If it is to encourage, then give encouragement. If it is giving, then give generously. If it is to lead, do it diligently. If it is to show mercy, do it cheerfully. Okay, at first thought you look at this and you say, hey, we've changed topics. But really we have not. He's still on the topic of how highly should you think of yourself. He connected it to the idea of faith, but faith in what? Faith in this. Well, what does this have to do with how highly we should think of ourselves? I think there's two parts to that. The first thing to notice is some of the terms in here. Gifts. A gift is something that you haven't earned. It's given to you according to the grace given to us. You don't earn grace either. It's something that's given to you. So how does this connect? What he's saying is, whatever abilities you have, they were given to you as a gift. You didn't earn them. They're not something that you earned. It was given to you. The first of the gifts that he mentions is prophesying. And I'm kind of thinking that there may have been a problem in the church where the people who were prophesying were going, look at how important I am. I can prophesy the future. And of course you can see some of the others, those that were giving. Oh, look how much money I gave. And what Paul is saying is, you're only a prophet because God gave you that ability. You only can give money because God allowed you to have that money. So don't get all uppity on us. I think the second part of this is he always has a response to this. If your gift is prophesying, then prophesy in accordance with your faith. If it is serving, then serve. If it is teaching, then teach. I think what he's saying is, okay, you can't really measure yourself by the gifts that you were given. But if you do want to measure yourself by how well you're using those gifts. If serving, then measure yourself by how well you serve. If it is teaching, then teach. If it is encouragement, then give encouragement. So, okay, it's not that they have these gifts, but if you're going to measure yourself by how well you use your gifts. There's actually a lot we could talk about in this little passage, and I thought about talking about more about it next week. But I don't think I'm going to do that. However, there is one thing I'm going to point out, which I found kind of curious. Where is the gift of tongues? It's not mentioned in this passage. It makes me wonder whether the gift of tongues had already disappeared or Paul was just de-emphasizing it. Remember, we think of it as the gift of tongues, but the word tongue actually meant languages. So is the gift of languages. And you see in Pentecost too, where people from all over the empire were hearing the gospel in their own language. I think when the gospel first got started, that was pretty darn important to get the message out. Because the 12, hey, they were fishermen. I don't think they knew 55 different languages. But as the gospel spread out through the empire, that miracle, that gift, became less important. And here you see where it's not even mentioned as a part of the gifts.